The Hey Eddie podcast is brought to you by Hey there, do you wash your hands before dinner? Good, but do you wash them 7 times while hopping on one foot and humming? No? Well, then you need Pharisee foam. It's the soapiest soap that ever soaped. 1 squirt and your hands will be so clean they'll sparkle. 2 squirts and they'll glow in the dark. 3 squirts and. Okay, we don't actually know what happens with 3 squirts. Kevin tried it once and we haven't seen him since. Pharisee foam. Is it overkill? Absolutely. Will it make your hands cleaner than your little brother's? You bet. Pharisee foam, now available in extra bubbly and ridiculously bubbly. This is the Hey Eddie podcast. I'm your host, Cousin Michael. The Hey Eddie podcast is dedicated to helping kids like my cool cousin Eddie learn about the Bible and learn important lessons about God, about Jesus, and about life. The Bible is indeed God's gift to kids, a lamp to our feet and a light to our path. On today's episode of the Hey Eddie podcast, we're going to be studying Mark chapter 7, verses 1 through 23, in a lesson titled Clean Hands or Clean Hearts. This lesson will teach us that God cares more about what's in your heart than what's on your hands. Our key memory verse is Mark chapter 7, verse 20. What comes out of a person is what defiles them. Hey Eddie, okay, quick question for you. Has anyone ever told you, go wash your hands before dinner? Yeah, me too, like 1,000,000 times. Well, today's story is about hand washing, but not the kind you're thinking of. This isn't about germs or dirt or getting mud off your fingers after playing outside. This is about some grumpy grown-ups who thought washing your hands a certain special way made you super holy. And Jesus had something pretty amazing to say about it. Ready? Let's go. So here's what happened. Some religious leaders called Pharisees came all the way from Jerusalem to check on Jesus. They were kind of like rule inspectors. They loved rules. Like they had rules about rules. Rules about how to wash your hands. Rules about how to wash your cups. Rules about everything. And these guys saw Jesus' disciples sitting down to eat lunch, and they were like, "Excuse me? Did those guys just start eating without washing their hands the special way?" Now remember, this wasn't about germs. Back then, they didn't even know about germs. This was about a special religious tradition. The Pharisees believed if you washed your hands a certain way before every meal, it made you super clean and holy in God's eyes. So they marched up to Jesus and said, "Why don't your followers do what they're supposed to do? They're breaking the rules." And Eddie, Jesus didn't back down. Not even a little bit. Jesus looked at those Pharisees and basically said, "You guys are really good at following your made-up rules. But you're not so good at following what God actually said." Ooh, that's got a sting. Then Jesus gave them an example. He said, God told you to honor your father and mother, right? That means taking care of them, especially when they get old and need help. The Pharisees nodded. Yeah, we know that. But Jesus said, but you let people say, "Sorry, Mom and Dad, I can't help you because I promised to give my money to God instead." And then they don't even give it to God. They just keep it for themselves. See what's happening? They were using religious-sounding words to get out of doing what God actually wanted. They were being sneaky. They cared more about looking good than being good. Jesus called them hypocrites. That's a fancy word for someone who pretends to be something they're not. Like if you said, "I love cleaning my room," but then you stuffed everything under your bed, that's being a hypocrite. But here's where Jesus says something really big. He called everyone over, the whole crowd, and said, "Listen up. Nothing that goes into you from the outside can make you dirty on the inside. It's what comes out of you that makes you dirty." Wait, what? The disciples were confused too. So later, when they were alone in a house, they asked, Jesus, what did you mean by that?" And Jesus said, "Okay, this part might make you giggle. Don't you get it? When you eat food, it goes into your tummy. and then it goes through your body and comes out in the toilet. It doesn't go into your heart. Food just becomes poop. I know, Jesus basically talked about poop, but he had a really important point. Here's the big idea, Eddie. It's not what goes into you that matters most to God, it's what comes out of your heart. Your heart isn't just the thing that goes thump thump in your chest. In the Bible, your heart means the real you, what you think about, what you want, and who you really are on the inside. And Jesus said some pretty yucky stuff can come out of our hearts if we're not careful. Things like mean thoughts, lying and tricking people, being jealous of what someone else has, bragging like you're better than everyone, being selfish and greedy. Those things, those are what make us dirty on the inside, not what we eat, not whether we washed our hands the right way. So what does this mean for you, Eddie? First, God cares about your heart more than your habits. It's not about looking good on the outside, it's about being good on the inside. God sees the real you, and he loves the real you. Second, watch out for the yucky stuff. When you feel jealous, or you want to lie, or you're tempted to be mean, that's the stuff that makes your heart dirty. Ask Jesus to help you clean it up. Third, don't be a pretender. It's okay to not be perfect, but don't pretend to be something you're not. God doesn't want fake. He wants the real you. Here's the awesome news, Eddie. Jesus can clean your heart. Not with soap and water, but with his love and forgiveness. When we mess up, we can tell him, and he makes us clean again, for real. So next time someone says, "Did you wash your hands?" Go ahead and wash them. That's good. But also remember, what really matters to Jesus is a clean heart. This has been the Hey Eddie Podcast. I'm your host, Cousin Michael. Remember that the Hey Eddie Podcast is dedicated to studying the Bible and learning important lessons about God, about Jesus, and about life. Today we discussed Mark chapter 7, verses 1 through 23. Tune in soon for another episode of the Hey Eddie Podcast, where we'll study Mark chapter 7, verses 24 through 37. Love you, Eddie.